As a result of the Defence Strategic Review, see separate briefing link below, the Australian Army is being transformed and optimised for littoral manoeuvre operations and will deploy by sea, land and air from Australia. Additionally, the Army, like the Navy and Air Force, must also be capable of long-range surface strike. A key component of this new Army force is the 1st Brigade, together with supporting elements. This new force will be expeditionary, structured to set up forward bases of operations in austere locations to control and or deny areas of key interest by establishing fire bases to project power from. The US Marine Corps has already gone down a similar path with its Marine Littoral Regiments. It's important to note, however, that the ADF is not designed to conduct opposed amphibious landings a la the US Marines. G'day and salutations. Today's briefing, Australia's Marine Littoral Force, Australia's Marines, structure and role. Welcome to Strategy and Analysis Centre. First, a shout out to members and thank you to all those who have subscribed. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new briefing. The fighting element of this Marine Littoral Force is the 1st Brigade, a light amphibious brigade, the main component of which is the 5th 7 Battalion, a light amphibious infantry formation brought ashore by landing craft. The battalion will of course have vehicles, in this case the Hawkeye for command liaison and reconnaissance, and the Bushmaster protected mobility vehicle for troop and heavy weapon transport, amongst other roles. They won't carry the infantry directly into contact, but will provide some mobility and a level of protection once ashore in complex terrain with limited infrastructure. Another vehicle, although not organic to the brigade, will be the new Lark replacement, which will provide over-the-shore logistics support. Artillery support for the brigade is provided by the M777 155mm towed guns, although whether this is the most appropriate weapon for the brigade's role is open to question. Specialised combat support is provided by the combat engineers, covering areas like mine clearing, demolition, creating and breaching obstacles, constructing basic fortifications, and minor bridging works. Tasks with providing communications for the brigade's units deployed in these littoral areas, likely a very challenging comms environment with limited infrastructure, is the brigade's Combat Signals Regiment. The other key support element is the Combat Support Battalion, providing logistics and maintenance support. Not organic to 1st Brigade, but designed to provide specialised long-range fire support to all of the combat manoeuvre brigades, are elements of the newly raised 10th Brigade. Capabilities that might be attached to the Littoral Force will include the M142 HIMARS multiple launch rocket system. Another element of the brigade that is very likely to support 1st Brigade is the future land-based anti-ship missile capability, either the Strike Master, which integrates the naval strike missile with the Bushmaster PMV in a similar concept to the US Marine Corps' Nemesis capability, or the AGM-184C long-range anti-ship missile launched from the M142 HIMARS. This will provide the Army with a land-based dedicated maritime strike capability, facilitating sea denial and control. In addition to these, it is almost certain that an air defence capability from 10th Brigade will be included to support 1 Brigade, in this case the NASAMS system, although this is only part of the air defence requirement. A point defence system is also needed to defeat UASs, but this capability is still lacking in the Army. Current project LAND 156 is to address this by kinetic and non-kinetic means, including through radio frequency, electromagnetic, directed energy and hard kill gun systems. A kinetic option for point defence might look something like the EOS Slinger, which uses a 30mm autocannon firing proximity fused rounds and mounted on a Hawkeye or Bushmaster chassis. To deploy this new force, the Army is creating 3 littoral lift groups, with 1 in Darwin. This group will consist of some of the new, larger and longer range landing craft mediums and landing craft heavies, which will self-deploy from Darwin into the near region to support forces operating in littoral and riverine environments, without the need for the Navy's larger amphibious ships. The new Lark replacement, mentioned earlier, will provide over-the-shore logistics support and will be part of the LLG. See related briefing linked in the description. So the Marine Littoral Force might be structured as follows. Based on the 1st Brigade, a light amphibious brigade, comprising a light infantry battalion, an artillery regiment, a combat engineer regiment, a combat signals regiment, and a combat support battalion. This force would be augmented by some or all of the current and planned future capabilities of the 10th Brigade, such as multiple launch rocket systems, anti-ship missiles, and air defence systems. All of this would self-deploy from Darwin to the area of operations via its dedicated Littoral Lift Group. The force would also likely be supported by pre-landing teams of the 2nd Battalion conducting reconnaissance and securing landing zones. A hypothetical deployment scenario from Darwin to the Philippines, where Australia has been increasing bilateral and multilateral exercises, would see the force transit Indonesian archipelagic Sea Lane 3 to, say, Palawan or Luzon Islands. In summary, the Army's 1st Brigade appears to be morphing into something like the US Marine Corps' Marine Littoral Regiment. The brigade, which would not deploy in toto, will be augmented with long-range missile systems. It is not a rapid reaction force nor designed to make opposed landings. It is a light amphibious force that can self-deploy via landing craft from Darwin to littoral and riverine environments and set up forward operating and fire bases. These fire bases will be able to engage land, sea and air targets at longer ranges than the Army has previously been capable of, in some cases out to around 500 kilometres or more than 300 miles, allowing the Army to contribute to the ADF's integrated force long-range strike missions. I'll be covering the Army's other manoeuvre brigades in subsequent briefings. That concludes today's briefing. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share, and don't forget to click the notification button so you don't miss the next briefing. You never know what it'll be about. Happy to take suggestions for briefings from members. Until next time, Vale de Cero.